Hey, everyone, and welcome to Tax Day, people. It's episode 41 of the Weekly Catch-Up Podcast. Thanks to all the loyal fans and tots for tuning in. It is Wednesday, July 15th, so I hope you filed your extension today. And if you did, I'm kind of judging you. I'm Carson Gibbons, and as always, I'm joined by my friend who is now a year older and a year wiser, Mr. B-Rad Colvin.
That'd be me, and I have sent in my tax forms.
Did you just do it recently?
No, it's been done.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I did mine in like January, February.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would need an extension on July 15th.
I don't know, but...
Are you ready to break down the IRS tax code for the next hour, my friend?
Here we go, peeps. Let's get it!
It's the Weekly Catch-Up with Carson and Brad. Here to talk about the week we done had. It could be sports, religion, politics, we keeping the tabs. You would think they work for Gucci, how they deep in they bag. Get your facts up. On Wednesday, we'll be counting the stats up. So turn the volume up till it's maxed up. You know the drill. So tell a friend to relax up and chill. We back up. This is the Weekly Catch-Up.
So quick disclaimer right off the top. If I sound a little hoarse, it's because B-Red had a birthday, and we're so glad.
Thanks, man.
I shouted a lot over the weekend, and it's led people to think that I now have COVID, which is problematic. And I'll be honest, man, it's now Wednesday. We had your little bash on Saturday night.
Yep.
I have spent the last 3 or 4 days I got COVID that night. That was dumb. Just kind of with this fear, this irrational... I took Motrin for the first time in a while today, and any little creak or crick in your neck, and you're like, oh, that's it.
I got the COVID.
I'm just
I got the 19.
Googling symptoms,
Yeah.
You got a bad trip to the bathroom. You're like, I've got it.
Yeah. You hit WebMD, and you're like, oh, I'm dying. I have multiple.
I'm pregnant.
Pregnant, have cancer.
Yo, shout out to everybody that came through. That was a fun time, man.
That was awesome.
I got to see Gavin and his wife for the first time in forever.
Yeah, literally every person that I invited showed up. So it was great to see all of my Dallas friends mingling with my Fort Worth and Keene friends. And Courtney, she hadn't met a lot of the people here in Dallas, like John, Sarah, Shelley, Checkers, Grizz, all of them. And so that was really important for me. For them to be able to meet. But yeah, it was a great time. I hope everybody else had fun.
It was important for me too once I realized that they still hadn't met. I always channel my experience and project it onto others. Yeah. So because typically if I'm out in a group, it's likely that Grizz is going to be there or Shelly's going to be there. So the fact that they all hadn't met was kind of wild to me.
Right.
Just because I guess of the Dallas folks, I know her definitely the most well, but
yes, for sure.
I would say it was great to see Alec and Gerald and everybody, but and no offense to anybody that I saw, but getting to rekindle the old spark with George Rosa,
La Rosa,
was probably the most meaningful reconnection for me, just because I think we both kind of had this sheepish grin where it was man, we should do better. Because I asked him, I was was the last time I saw you when we were both living in Maryland? Dude. And if so, that's a problem because, it feels like yesterday, but that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was when, 2012, 2013?
2012, 2013.
Okay.
So he was living in Silver Spring.
Yeah, shout out. That's where I was.
When I was in Bmore. So he and I would go out in Fed Hill. We actually went out with Monique and Joseph and some of those people in Bethesda.
That's where they like to hang, yeah.
Yeah.
And George was still living up in Maryland. And so actually... me coming in, it was the first week of living in Maryland. He was actually moving back to Texas. And so I intercepted him and we got brunch and everything. And obviously now we both live back here and I see him pretty much every other week, every 3 weeks maybe.
I thought the story was that he actually just came back from Maryland again recently. 6 months ago, maybe?
No. 2 years ago. He moved out to Cali. But then,
that's right.
Then COVID hit, and they were like, sorry, we can't hire you. And so he had to move back.
Because it was one of those things where, we just saw each other and paused and a big hug and all that. But then it was between all the social media posts and what I've heard through the grapevine, where have you been for the last 5 years? have we seen each other? Because it's one of those friendships that you just the friendships that are super easy to rekindle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a hard time placing how long ago something was, and then you just feel kind of guilty because you're like, we have such great chemistry for talking once every 5 years.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
we could make this work more. But yeah, it was fun. Mardati, Tosh, just the whole crew, man.
Yeah, it was a wonderful weekend filled with all of my loved ones, my good old pals. So
John and Sarah were the only ones that came through with masks, and I kind of gave John a little bit of just made fun of him, but at the same time, there was definitely a part of me that was like, yeah, I should have put my mask on, like, because I brought masks because I didn't know what to think or what to expect.
Yeah, I think several people brought some. I even brought one to my car just in case everybody else I didn't know how the vibe would be.
The hard part is that whenever you're eating or drinking,
you
know, you can't have a mask on, and I did both.
Right.
So
it's like at that point, the mask off, we're all eating together. So
shout out to Fuzzy's Taco Shop.
Yeah, that was delicious.
Catering that thing.
Shout out to Courtney for putting all that together.
Yeah, thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, that food was bomb. Everybody left, and I ate a lot more.
It was so fast forward to Monday. I get on. My voice has healed up a lot. Like I had almost lost my voice completely on Monday, and I talk for a living. So, 9 to 5 plus this.
Love
it. I was like really raggedy by the time I got into my one-on-one with our president, which is Mondays at 5 p.m. So I was hoarse. It was the first day of the week, back on coffee, all of that. And my voice was just raspy and gone. And so I'm like, hello. And he's kind of like, how was your weekend? Because he's been a very socially distanced. He's still going to the grocery store every other week, taking his shoes off and like wiping down the CPG in the bags before putting it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Type status.
Nice.
So he's using that time to get ahead on a lot of different work projects that he's doing. And so then I just felt very guilty and judged, and just like the disparity between how different people are handling what we're currently going through is almost problematic socially. And I've seen various instances, nothing bad has happened to me interpersonally or even at work, but I've seen friends drop out of social events due to work.
Yeah.
And we had somebody drop out of one of the bachelor parties because his work is having some sort of all hands on, I think it's like the day that we were supposed to get back from one of them.
Okay.
And they had gotten like an edict essentially that if you come down with COVID and you like traveled or you were out doing the stanky leg or going to bars or whatever is going on, you'll be terminated. Like, like there was no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, so it's not like you need to quarantine. It's like you're gone.
Yeah, you need to quarantine with another company.
Right. Like, social distance yourself away from us forever.
Professionally distance yourself away from us. And I was like, yo, that's kind of heavy-handed. Thanks, Communist China. But at the same time, our president was making a very valid point, not to sell out all the work secrets here, but he's like, if a mission critical person on a small team goes down and creates a bottleneck for, you just don't know. Yep. He made the perfect point that, we all could catch COVID. The mortality rate is not bad. However, whether you're asymptomatic or you have like life-altering scarring on your lungs and you just go through it for a couple weeks and it's like one of the most terrible things you've gone through, is a total luck of the draw, it would appear.
Yeah.
That being said, even with this huge uptick in cases and all of this, like I read Clay Jenkins' Twitter every day where he talks about the deaths, and it is always a woman in her 60s who was already critically ill in the hospital, who was already like terminally ill, a man in his 80s, he was already critically ill.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
not that that's everybody.
It definitely inflates the numbers. But I don't know. I'm in the camp that's like, I'm going to take precautions. I'm not going to be around people who don't. Like, I'll wear a mask out in public, even if I'm not forced to.
The hard part is that technically what we did was wrong with the party, because all it takes is one person who hasn't been practicing, who hasn't been wearing a mask when they should have been, or whatever, and you come into an intimate experience like that where, you know, I hugged people.
Well, that's another thing. Like even John and Sarah came in with masks, but like we still hugged. Like I still dapped up John, gave Sarah a hug, and then I thought afterwards I was like, man, I probably should, because I probably initiated it and I didn't catch myself in time. But you know, I don't know. It's like I don't know where I'm going with that, but other than I did not take the necessary precautions that I probably should have.
Yeah, I'm not really saying that we did anything wrong. I'm just saying that, you know,
the eyes.
It's one of those things where, let's say that George Rosa came through and he had COVID and he was asymptomatic, and then we have a big reunion hug and like, you know, talk.
Yeah.
You know, there's music going on. There's other people milling around, so we're talking face to face, like spreading germs.
Yeah.
And he does that with every single person in the party. Like we could have been one of those statistics, like 20 kids go to a party, 20 kids contract COVID.
Have you heard about the kids like purposely trying to catch it?
So yes, COVID parties,
yes,
which I thought is what we had, but no, that's where they knowingly bring a carrier.
They purposely bring a carrier, and then whoever, like, they put money in a pile, and whoever catches it first gets the money.
Oh yeah, that's baller.
Somebody, one of the kids. I'm assuming there's been multiple parties, but I read a report where like one of the kids who went to one of those parties died. Like
it was front page of CNN, so I think there's been more than one. But yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, natural selection.
Is that hilarious or sad?
I mean, I'm not gonna poke fun at the dead.
Man, but when you're 20,
but whenever your purpose, like,
I was so dumb and angry and hormonal when I was 20. My ego was bigger than this closet, man.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, you've heard Carson for the past several episodes, but y'all don't know younger Carson.
Yeah, you don't. Thankfully, I now have my ego in check, and my humility is top notch. If I do say so myself.
I got a big ego.
Did he drop out?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Are we done with the COVID parties? Yeah, well, that's insane. That's insane.
So they only bring one person that they know has it. Like they had to have tested positive and have symptoms,
I guess,
or there are varying levels of COVID parties. Like we're going to an asymptomatic one on Saturday,
and then just coughing all over each other.
We're like, there's going to be ventilators at Sunday's party,
right? It's like, I'm going to get all this pile of money for getting it. It's like, well, put that towards your medical bills, I guess.
So they think that they're going to come down with like rabid symptoms of COVID during the party's duration? Or they all camp out for a while?
I think they go to the party and then they go their separate ways. And it's like, now I have it.
Okay, I thought that they're all in like a circle and one kid sneezes and he's like, yes, and he grabs all the money.
Oh, man, idiots, dummies.
Well, at least the kid that died.
This is why we still need school.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get it. Like,
no, we are.
Many states are. I think California, LA, and Oakland, or somebody.
I don't know.
Either way,
we'll at least get distance learning still.
Have you seen the controversy with how New York had its first day without a COVID death?
Yeah, on
like Sunday maybe, or I forget what day it was, but. Now Andrew Cuomo is kind of taking fire because he's either distributed or he's selling or for fundraising with or something a poster of them like going over the mountain of COVID and that they're on the other side, and like, you know, people are just saying that it's very self-congratulatory and that they're not out of the woods, and that also that only two governors. Or only the governors that made the decision to send the elder folks back to the nursing homes with COVID, all of them were Democrats. And that literally contributed to a lot of those numbers that we've seen were those old folks' homes that just got ravaged by this.
Yeah.
And so that decision, they feel like, is being glossed over.
So they're saying like the poster or whatever is disingenuous, first of all, and then
disingenuous and maybe even like dishonest to a certain extent.
Yeah,
you know, they're like, what about all the thousands of people in nursing homes that you killed?
Yeah.
And they didn't kill them, but you know what I mean.
No, I get it. I do recognize the need for like some good news, though. Like death after death after death. It's like, why don't we celebrate a little bit, whenever we've made a milestone and like there hasn't been any reported deaths, but maybe it could have been handled in a different way, and I don't know. But
Yeah. It's entering a really weird gray area and a new level of you're just reserved to the fact that, like, I know life is not going back to normal this year,
no.
likely early next. Like, they're saying that, first of all, I think let's compare notes on this. I'm glad that I just recalled this because I've made mental notes about this week.
Okay.
And I always forget stuff like this.
Hit me.
Some of these things, some of these changes, I think are great and they should stay. Like, I walked into Lucky's Cafe the other day and it's a really intimate cafe over here off Oak Lawn, and they had new, like, nice plexiglass with like black nice frame dividers for the booths that are normally very close together. Like, this created a new sense of ambiance, and they also had like these little kind of shutters, almost like little shutters on wheels that were strategically placed between, the intersection of 4 tables, and it allowed for more tables in the restaurant, and it added to this sense of like, hey, we could be in a movie right now. Like, this feels more like you and I can just focus on what we're talking about, and you can have a nicer meal. And also, in looking back through the kitchen, because they have an open exposed, I took you there. They have the open exposed kitchen. I'm looking at the chef that's likely making my food with a mask on that covers his nose. And I'm thinking, great, finally, for the first time in my life, like, booger-free food,
Right.
Because, stuff has fallen in there. And
you were wondering what happened to that special seasoning.
Yeah, and like, I know things happen, like, but whatever. Like, hair, boogers, if somebody gleeks into your food or something nasty, it just makes my gag reflex kind of crop up. But I remember thinking, like, well, I want back of house to wear a mask all the time anyway. Just moving forward.
Yeah, let's keep all these places at 75% capacity.
I don't know about that, because the wait outside under the awning in 100-degree heat is getting old.
Yeah, okay.
You take it down to 50% capacity, and it's like everybody's still going out for whatever reason, but they can only seat half as many people.
Right.
And with social distancing, probably not even that many.
Yeah. I do like being at the grocery store and everybody has to, stay on their marker and they can't be like right up against my neck.
Yeah.
No, nobody's hitting me with their buggies.
The other day I was in, I think it was like a 7-Eleven, and I realized that I was feeling out, okay, this is the line, like, it goes down this aisle. And so I ended up going down the same aisle as the people that were standing, and there was only one person really left in the aisle that I had to like go by.
Yeah.
And it was this girl, and she kind of immediately sidestepped from her decal that she was dutifully standing on. She sidestepped to the complete other side and kind of looked like inconvenienced, or like I was ticked by it, bottom line. Then she walks to the counter and buys 2 packs of Pall Malls, and I was like, girl, like, what do you're distancing from me, but like, that's one of the worst things that you could probably be doing with a respiratory disease or whatever it is. Like,
dude, I went into the gas station and I was wearing a shirt. It's an Under Armour shirt, and it says Texas never backs down. And I went into this gas station without a mask. Like, I was just in a hurry. I was just grabbing some water and I didn't think about it. But I get up to the register, and the registrar, she was like, see, that's what I'm talking. She was this old country lady. She's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we don't need these damn masks. And I'm like, oh man, like, I just got put in this bunch with you. Like,
you're like, what do you think about Black Lives Matter though?
Jeez. Yeah, I hightailed it out of there. I'm like, I'm not. No, it's like I just got labeled.
Yeah, I mean, it's dude. Don't mess with Texas is like a white supremacist thing now. Like,
that's kind of like I've never been bunched in. Like, I mean, and obviously I'm not saying like she was racist for sure or anything, but
for sure
fits the mold.
She was a candidate.
Yeah, I mean,
she was in the group that they recruit from.
Yeah, like, if you can when somebody's a Karen, you know when somebody.
Dang, man, way to be a racist.
Prejudice, not racist.
Okay, bigoted.
Yeah, I'm being stereotyp. Yeah, I'm just giving. I became a stereotype.
You did?
Well, yeah, she bunched me in with her. I would have worn my mask, but I didn't think about it. I had just gotten done with the gym, so I had taken it off and all that. Anyway,
Yeah.
interesting times.
Lots of COVID news. We had 67,000 new cases. Shout out yesterday.
Shout out.
Yesterday alone.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah, we're going for 100
and
today,
nobody's
maybe.
going home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are, and there's been new restrictions and optimism within, I mean, I guess some travel, like it all depends on who you are, man. And
Right.
I think that the sad part is that I think people are going to lose jobs, and people are going to lose relationships. People are going to lose friendships over, how do you respond to this? With what level of care do you take? And if you don't see eye to eye on that, I've seen like quarrels, and we see these Twitter videos where it's like a Karen sitting at the front of Whole Foods, and she's just yelling, and I can't wear a mask, I'm allergic to it.
Oh my goodness.
You need to read the Constitution. And those are just attention fetching situations. Like, man, the media just has done everything.
I saw a post that said like grown men complaining about wearing masks. It's like, but they do that whenever they go out to kill Bambi's mom. Like, it's like, you wore it all weekend, buddy, and you can't survive this Target line. I want your opinion, just your thoughts on it. So like, I'm a teacher, right? And right now we're planning on opening our schools and, practicing social distancing. Like, we're going to open up our gym and probably actually have some classes in there so we can space everybody out, and use rooms that we really haven't before, just to give people that option. And then also we're going to be trying to provide the option for students that are wanting to stay home, like still having those Zoom sessions, while we're giving our lectures to the students that are present. What are your thoughts on that? Just like just from being an outsider, like outsider looking in, do you think that schools should completely close and continue with this distance learning, or what do you think about that?
Well, if I'm putting my Dr. Fauci hat on, I don't know. I'm probably the least qualified person in the world to comment on this. That's why it's going to be gold, folks. This is what gets us canceled, baby.
Right.
Dude, I think it's difficult. I don't think that it should be necessarily a federal mandate, because I think that geography has a lot to do with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a densely populated urban area, I think that more precautions for social distancing likely need to take place.
Yeah.
I think that if you're in a more remote area or rural area with students that, are in, I guess they're not in a bubble, they're in a geo bubble to a certain extent, but you could still always go to Walmart, and pick up anything. So, should schools be open? If the per capita, case and death rate for that particular county is manageable on the way to a vaccine, maybe they should open the schools.
Yeah. I hear that.
It'd be great if we could kind of like, poll people and teachers as well, because, I don't want to foresee the situation where Angela is a 24-year-old brand new teacher. She's starting her second year. Her first year got derailed with COVID. She's starting her second year, but she's freaked out about COVID. And she feels like she's being put on because she's being forced to work in these unsafe conditions. And God forbid she gets it. What if it disillusions her dream to teach in the future? You hate to see those types of situations. So if we could get a pulse for, hey, 70% of kids want to go back, 70% of teachers want to go back. All right, the rest of you, 30%, Zoom it. I think that what that also sets you up for, though, is that poor children will have to go because school is childcare.
Yes.
They know that you're at that school building from 9 to 3, and so they can go to work. And many people think that the real economy, like the real level of focus from working professionals that are also parents, won't come back until school is back in session within those four walls.
Yeah, and it's also not even poor families. It's also, the the ones that have like pre-K, kindergarten kids. You can't leave them alone at the house. We have had parents saying that they're not going to bring our kids back if we're not in our classrooms. And so another thing that we have to look at is like a private school who is a smaller school to begin with. If we want to stay in business, we have to kind of cater to what the majority wants as long as it's legal. So
again, religious private school is the tuition is paid. Here's something that let's just go into it. I shouldn't say this to you, but my perception sometimes has been that private religious school, you pay the tuition for the spiritual aura that's created,
sure,
and the like-mindedness that you hope that your child is surrounded by.
I don't
fostering
think,
of education.
I don't think you're off in that at all.
You don't pay for any uptick in real scholasticism. Like, I think that if you look at a private generic school versus a private school, the private generic school is likely to have a greater emphasis on the actual educational components and definitely athletics.
Yes, I'll say that's fair, but I also will say, as far as like private Christian schools, and I'll lump in just regular private schools along with that against public schools. Like the private schools are leagues ahead in test results, and all of that. And so I'd like to lump in our school into that category as well, and saying that we give our students a good education, and the test results prove that. Now, does this sheet of paper where you received a high score, does that mean you'll be more effective and you'll come up with better things once you're an adult than somebody who went to public school? Perhaps not.
Well,
but
don't downplay your own stat. I'll take that stat on its face, and I don't doubt that. And I also think that you can't take any of this directly personally, because I think that your school, even among its peers within the faith, within the conference, different things like that, I think it's a step above.
Yeah.
I think that they churn out a real quality education. And I say that largely because I've seen what their alumni have done, what they've gone on to. So, but others, I mean, if you're not going to have chapel 5 days a week, then why would I pay more money than my property taxes to facilitate my kids' education?
Nobody's going to pay the thousands of dollars to have online school in their room. And I don't blame those parents at all. Like, if I was a parent, that's something that I would have to really look at.
Especially if you're furloughed, if you've been laid off, if you're a single parent home. And again, the beauty of school for the mass, consumer population of America and working population is that it locks those kids down from 8 to 3, and where they are. And, a lot of times kids get into judo and karate and baseball and gymnastics and track because their parents work a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they need to be committed to after school programs. And some parents need that early drop off and that late pickup after all the extracurricular that you could possibly sign up for. And that kid is in the hands of the state or the private institution from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. most days.
And sports and extracurriculars, that's a whole nother topic, because many sports involve direct physical contact. And also, if you think about music and choir, like people spitting everywhere while they're singing and playing instruments, so that's another interesting thing that schools will have to deal with this August.
Yeah, and the news keeps singling out different athletic programs that come back for little mini camps and stuff like that, and how they're getting COVID. And what's your take on? I've been watching a little bit of the coverage of the NBA bubble, and I saw that a player. So let's just talk about what that is first. So NBA is recommencing at, is it Walt Disney World?
Yes.
In a bubble, like they literally can't go outside
right.
of these buildings or something.
I think so.
Like, there's a bubble where everybody in that bubble can't interact with people outside of that bubble. And so they put all the players up at a hotel. Their meals are all like prepackaged and delivered by people within the bubble.
Have we reported on weren't the meals like super lame.
So
I think I saw memes where people were saying they were likening it to the Fire Festival.
yeah, I think we might have referenced that last week, and that is funny. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about was now that we've kind of described the concept of the bubble, one player got suspended. Oh, no, he got placed into quarantine because he went outside of the bubble to meet a Grubhub delivery driver this week. And so, everybody was like, oh, commending the, NBA for being strict about this. And I don't think he was happy, and he just wanted some food from the outside, and everybody's been...
Where did he order from?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, that matters, dude. If it's an Arby's, that's irresponsible. Like
Yeah.
he deserves COVID.
I mean, I wouldn't drive to Arby's, much less pay a delivery fee.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like...
But that happened, and every player's been griping and moaning on Twitter and Instagram, like showing pictures of the food in the hotel and like just these slight offhanded comments.
Well,
and I've been seeing in these to-go containers, it's like steak and mashed potatoes and lobster, and like this one player Snapchatted or Instagrammed. It was a cryptic thing. It was like Motel 6, huh? Okay, I see you, NBA.
Yeah.
And he posted a very nice room with a huge bed. It was like obviously a Motel 6 Deluxe or. When they build those new ones, like sometimes the best option in a town is a Holiday Inn Express.
Right.
Those are nice sometimes.
Oh,
just
for sure.
depends on where you are. So what's your take on that? Like,
I mean, you're in this bubble because you wanted to play basketball, and I think you're going to have to take some... You're not going to get everything your way. Like, I think people should be appreciating that they have the opportunity to continue with these games. And if that means that you have to have like a PB&J and a queen size bed instead of a California king, like, suck it up.
Yeah. It elicits a lot of different emotions and thoughts because it's like, a big thought that jumps to mind is shut up and dribble. And,
Well, I think that's different. Like, I definitely think that players... because that quote's more of like basketball players shouldn't be talking about politics. Now, if they're putting themselves in this situation and, they're not happy with the food and stuff, I think that's different than them being able to speak on what's going on in the world, if that makes sense. Like, you're still getting paid.
That's my whole point. They're obviously not taking into account what's going on in the world. I don't mean shut up and dribble. Like, I don't think that basketball players shouldn't have a voice in modern discourse or even political or civic matters. What I'm saying is that you're tone deaf if that beautiful king size bed and that beautiful flat screen TV and this lobster in this to-go container where you're in a bubble at Walt Disney World playing your favorite game for millions of dollars, and there's 40 million Americans that have applied for unemployment. There's people sleeping under bridges every day. There's tent cities. There's single parents that, all their bar jobs got cut and their kids at home and they're struggling with domestic violence. There's been a big uptick in suicides. Like my dad talked to a sheriff the other day that said, normally we have attempts and not this many deaths. And he said that of the 10 suicide attempts that would happen pre-COVID, 3 of them would make it and they would kill themselves properly.
Yeah.
He's like, we're batting 10 for 10 right now. Like nobody's attempting and failing.
Right.
So I think it's tone deaf when you say that. At the same time, are you a businessman, exchanging services in exchange for money? Yes. Like, do you have every worker's right and right to the capital that you've created? 100%.
Sure.
All that is true.
Yeah. No, so I think I'm with you. Like, I think the shut up and dribble quote could be inserted into this conversation.
Yeah, that's what I meant it for.
Then I'm with you. Because I agree with that.
And I want to clarify that what I think is right and what I think is tasteful or whatever are often two separate
different
things.
things.
I went on a rant a couple weeks ago about, the most American thing you could do is burn the American flag. And if you just took that quote out of context, I could be labeled a jihadist.
You could take this podcast places, man.
I don't think that is the tasteful thing to do on your front lawn if you're trying to maintain face with the neighbors. Do I think it's the most blatant form of freedom that we have? Yes. And from that perspective, I'm gonna exaggerate
Right.
that concept. So I'm commenting more on the taste of once you have a $20 million contract, act like you've had that contract for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a new level of responsibility, and it crushes some people.
Right.
But
yeah, now's not the time to be spoiled.
Are there still notable people sitting out the season or whatever in the bubble? Because I know MLB had a big to do about that.
I'll be honest, like I'm not sure, but I don't think it's any of like the major players. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
NBA. This is why the PGA Tour rocks and is totally holding it down for us. I don't know. Oh, actually, I know you didn't catch Sunday's
no,
Workday Charity Open. Dude, coming down to the wire, it was like Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas, and Morikawa birdied the last hole, and I guess Thomas parred it, I believe.
Yeah.
And so they went into a sudden death playoff where they were going to play 18, 18, 10, and 14, and then go back to 18. And dude, Justin Thomas hit his approach shot onto the green, but way far left. He had a 50-footer with like 10 foot of break on this putt, and he poured it in from like 50, 60 feet out, and he like yelled. He was like, yes. And we're like, oh snap, he just won his 13th PGA Tour event. And then Morikawa pours in a 24-foot putt to tie him. So they go back to it. The next hole, the drama on this playoff was incredible. And in the end, Morikawa, the second-year rookie, ended up taking out 12-time PGA Tour winner Justin Thomas.
Good for him.
For his second PGA Tour win. And so I've talked to some of my golf buddies, and it's like Morikawa is so exciting because it's insane. Like, well, because he's 22.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if he's won like 2 out of his first 15 or 20 starts, like, you know, that type of batting average out of the gate in this type of competitive environment, like he could be a young phenom. He could be a Phil Mickelson in the making, you know, somebody that could post 20, 30, 40, 50 career wins.
Yeah. As far as NBA players, like a lot of them are opting out just because they were already injured. The main one that I see is DeAndre Jordan of the Nets. He had tested positive for COVID. I mean, I think he's good now, but I think he's opting out for the rest of this season. So like I said, I think the majority of like the big name players will be taking part.
So we got NBA coming back. We got MLB coming back.
Yeah, man. NFL? Any NFL news today?
I feel like NFL has kind of dominated the news recently.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. We have a lot of NFL news to catch up on. So Mahomes, 99 on Madden.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of drama and controversy coming out of that rating system.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are also mad at J.J. Watt getting such a high score compared to somebody else.
Christian McCaffrey was the 99 running back.
Wild. Yeah, and then Dak was like the 5th best. People were not happy with that one either.
Yeah, I've been hearing so much about Dak just like with his stats and like, he's through for 4,900 yards.
We're talking about the Madden video game for those that don't know. I mean, Madden's been out since the 90s. But each year, you know, we're all kind of seeing who they're going to rank the best player within this video game. And so this year, it's been a lot of controversy to see how, I guess it's EA Sports that decided to, or how they decided to rank these players. So.
Yeah, it's been wild to watch.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey was one of the hot ones. Dak. So I heard an analyst on, I think it was Get Up the other morning, that was saying, yeah, he threw for 4,900 yards, but some would say that some of those were kind of irrelevant. Like if your team was tanking in the NBA and you had 36 points, but then you went to the free throw line a bunch at the end and ended up with like 44 points. It's like, yeah, but who cares?
Right.
Like he kind of deemed that they were padded stats in like losing games.
I
I thought that was interesting. Like Dak he's put up such great stats, and there is this level of like we don't believe it yet.
Yeah,
because he hasn't taken us to the promised
well,
land.
apparently they don't believe it because today was the deadline.
I knew that they weren't going to move on him.
Yeah,
especially in light of Mahomes' contract. Is like
exactly.
Have you heard about all the
really
psychology with that? Where like now that he's been paid that amount, like they can't sign Dak in this time duration because it's like they're not going to pay him that. You know,
no way. Did you see what Dak's brother tweeted?
No.
So his Dak Prescott's brother said, "There's a reason I was never a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up or before they drafted Dak after today. Who knows how much longer I'll be cheering for them."
Okay.
I guess like hinting that.
What's he up to? What's his name? Zach?
Tad.
Tad?
T-A-D.
Dak. Tad.
Chet.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Must be one syllable, 3 letters with these parents. Well, that's cool. Way to tweet, bro. Dak's still going to make $30 million something this year.
I guess so. We'll franchise tag him, and
I got no problems with that in many ways because, if we have him for the next year, especially with the uncertainty of we never know what's going to shake out the next month or the next quarter or year with COVID going on and this new norm. Plus, we haven't really gotten to see, like, check this out. What if you were a student athlete, like an NCAA standout athlete, and draft comes around and it's your time to shine and get into a new program and take your workouts and your reps, and the COVID hits and you can't get drafted properly? Like, we're missing a class or two of athletes coming up through the system in every sport. Why are you laughing?
because I always think about like how you hear older people, it's like, oh man, I could have gone pro if it wasn't for my bum knee, and like now the excuse is going to be COVID.
Back in '82, you used to be able to throw a pigskin quarter mile.
It's like, oh, if it wasn't for COVID hitting, could have gone pro.
Oh man, I was a hell of a pigskin player back in the day, boy. But then the pandemic hit, took out my legs.
Had us quarantining and
couldn't throw a ball, couldn't even leave the house.
All we had was Nerf balls.
I don't know, but that is a real thing where
it is a realistic scenario for many players. I'm just thinking of all the people who use it as an excuse who wouldn't have made it regardless.
Well, in the talent pool per public game that's being played and featured right now, especially with fans, like I feel like teams are going to have their choice of like, well, which really well-rested player would we like to draft or re-extend or, trade for or whatever? I mean, Tom Brady's on the Bucs. Anything is possible. Like, we'll see what happens. But I'm totally fine with them trying to see if he can throw for good yardage, but also take us to something better than, what was it, 8-8 that we finished?
Maybe. Yeah, probably around there.
Like, we were supposed to win 12 games last year.
Yeah. If we could get past the first round, that'd be great.
Dude, if we could win the Super Bowl, like, what's fun?
Baby steps.
World champions, baby.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be in Kansas City right now and to have just signed Mahomes to the biggest contract in sports history?
Incredible. This is Kansas has never been living this high before.
He was
they haven't been living this high since Wizard of Oz.
So there was this, I forget what it's called, but there was a golf tournament on NBC this weekend, and it was featuring a bunch of celebrity players like Steph Curry. And so teammates Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes played golf together. And it was crazy because it's like on Lake Tahoe. And so like they had a gallery because all the greens are like right off of the lake. And so all these people are partying on boats and all docked up and like cheering on, Travis Kelce and Mahomes playing golf against like Tony Romo and I think Justin Timberlake and all these crazy people.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the announcers for the golf tournament were just saying, boy, is he fun to watch. Like just all the stuff that we were saying, like it's just so much fun to watch him run offense,
Yeah, that's great.
He's got larger than life aura brand going on right now.
Speaking of larger than life aura, somebody has dropped out of the presidential race.
Oh, snap.
None other than Kanye West. We just reported last week that he was running.
So,
and now it's reported that he's dropped out.
The only thing I know about this is a tweet that I saw from Anthony Scaramucci.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
No.
He was Trump's press secretary for about 11 days.
Okay.
And he tweets out, wow, that presidential run lasted a full Scaramucci. And I was like, did Kanye drop out? But I didn't have time to.
Yeah, he dropped out. Before that, Chance the Rapper had vocalized his opinion and in support of Kanye West, and was saying that he would die on that hill, and was calling people that were wanting to vote for Joe Biden like racist and stuff. And then none other than actor Terry Crews
oh no
stepped up and supported Chance the Rapper, and Chance tweeted, well, I'm running back off this hill now, just because Terry Crews had agreed with him. That's what made him realize he was wrong in everything that he was saying. But he was basically like, I don't get why people wouldn't vote for Kanye other than them being racist and white, black, bro. No, like every single racist tweeting at him like, what does Kanye stand for? Like nobody knows his policies or anything. And like Chance was just arguing with him all day. He was trending on Twitter, and then Terry Crews supports him, and he's like, oh damn. And then he's like, okay, he basically backed out of everything that he was saying. And then like a day later, it's reported that Kanye has dropped out of the race. So Chance was willing to die on a hill that Kanye wasn't even willing to die on for himself.
He wasn't willing to trudge up it either or spend any time on it. I never saw him do anything for this.
No. I mean, well,
I knew it was a publicity stunt.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I tried to tell you.
You tried to, well, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I kind of did.
Yeah. But I was more saying that like, I believe Elon Musk fully supports Kanye. Now, whether
you think the real brilliant one out of that duo was like fooled?
Yes.
I don't think Elon gets fooled often, and he definitely doesn't get fooled by Kanye West.
So he was just okay,
dude.
So the purpose of it was just to troll?
Dude, he likes to engage with people on Twitter. He thinks it's fun. He enjoys taking an Ambien, drinking a little red wine, and firing up Twitter. He said as much on Twitter, verbatim. So, he was feeling loose off the goose that night, and he decided, there are no repercussions. How many billion-dollar companies am I currently running?
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, I do believe that...
I'll never think that, hey, man, Kanye and Elon got together, and man, Kanye got the best out of Elon. That'll never be said.
I don't know. I think there is a world where Kanye had put his name into the running sooner, before it was too late for several states, and that
could you see Kermit the Frog tweeting out, "I'm running for president," and Eli replying, "I fully support this." We live in 2020.
Yes,
you could see that happening.
Elon doing it? No,
I could see Elon responding to something like that because he wanted to create a gag. Like he's loose with the replies. So I never thought that was. My point in saying what I said a week or two ago was that the fact that media outlets picked up on it and said Kanye West running for president, Elon Musk endorses with full support, is a misleading statement because I didn't think that's what had happened. I thought
that's fine.
Kanye sent a cryptic tweet, first of all, because you didn't know based off the text if it was for this election or the next one, except that he did hashtag 2020 vision. And it's not even a real hashtag because you can't hashtag numerals first.
Right.
So that all of that smelled to me. And then when he didn't have anything going on, there wasn't any launch of a political website or anything. And he wasn't going to mess with Trump. He likes Trump. The Kardashians are very embedded with Trump. They've worked heavily together on prison reform.
I mean, so let me ask you this. In a recent news article, whenever he said that he was putting his name into the ring, he also denounced Trump and said that he does not support him anymore. Do you think that's also just a lie?
Is there a video of that?
It
was a paraphrased editorial.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's what I'm saying is that the news reports on the news. Cable news is full of them reporting on other outlets and newspapers' actual findings. You can't believe anything that is fifth part. Like if the mayor said it if the grocery store owner said something to a patron and then a reporter gets told that and follows up 6 hours later, talks to another store manager, she ends up connecting with the original store manager on the phone. She hears the account from her perspective. And then she relays that hours later on the 6 p.m. news. And then CNN picks it up the next morning. It's the rumor game. It's that information has passed hands so many times.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested if that article included quotation marks, insinuating a direct quote from Kanye. And even then, Kanye is a victim of bipolar disorder, a big creative ego and mind. And I think he's a tormented creative soul at times.
Yeah.
And has said as much. So, he might have denounced Trump and he might have been having a bad day. I don't know that he did. I think he would have just tweeted that had he really felt that way and was making a real bid for president. So I'm going to call BS on all of that, actually.
That's fair. I just hope the album's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Will and Jada sit down together. We reported on this last week.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Thoughts?
Thoughts and hoes, Yeah, it's good for her. First of all, I thought that making a meme out of Will was disingenuous because I didn't see a weak man sitting there.
No,
when I watched
think
the
that
real
face
thing,
that they caught was a very brief moment.
Not representative of his overall demeanor.
No, I would agree.
Did he want to be there? No, he was not.
He was there for Jada. He was rolling.
But if this is the decision that they've made, and I had when this first came out, I thought that they might.
Okay, so that they might what?
I thought that people have arrangements sometimes.
Right. Okay, so
it wasn't even that.
No, so let's lay down the new news that we've learned from this Red Table talk that I was talking about last week. So we had first reported that August Alsina had been hooking up with Jada, and that Will had given him his blessing and that they were cool with it. And then Jada tweets out, there needs to be healing in this house or something like that. And so she gets on her Red Table talk with her husband, and I guess they're like interviewing each other. And typically her shows are like an hour long, but they only spent like 13 minutes on this one, which I don't know. I think there should have been a third party interviewer to ask them more pressing questions. Like they were able, since it was just them two, they could answer just whatever they wanted and not shed light on other areas and that we might want to know about. But anyway, Jada and Will both say that they took in August whenever he was down on his luck, and they basically saved his life and all this. They kept calling him Augie or I don't know. It was weird, but Og. Yeah. And so they're like, poor little Og, we took him in, which that makes me even more creeped out. It's like you took this guy in down on his luck and then he turned out to be sexy. Well, no, not even that, but like it was almost like she was kind of preying on him. Like,
yeah, she was.
No, don't turn it into like
the
a
Smith family just feeds on normal
humans? That's gross,
dude. No, man, come into the chambers and get cut.
That's disgusting. Anyway, they were basically saying that Will did not give the blessing. They were separated at the time.
You can't sleep with poor people?
No, not even poor. They were saying that
well, what if they got him fixed up?
He was close to death.
Well, whatever that means. He got back to healthy and viral, obviously.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
How long is long enough, Brad?
It's not a matter of duration. It doesn't matter how much time. There are billions of people in this world. You could go after somebody during your little fling that you didn't bring it. He was the son's friend. He's what's his name? Jaden?
Because
Smith?
I helped you, I can't sleep with you, Brad?
Yeah.
It's not going to work, buddy.
No, whenever you're in a position of power like that and you're way older, they took him in as
a celebrity too. He's a blue check too.
Okay, they're child celebrity. That doesn't mean that
all I'm telling you is that if Jada Pinkett Smith came at me I'm not a victim.
We know you're not.
And I'm down on my luck, Brad. I'm sad. I need to be taken in by Jada. Take me to the red table.
Listen, she's fine. I understand that. She's gorgeous.
This is the double standard because we're all like, if Will had been doing this,
yeah, it would have
how
been messed
terrible
up.
would it have been? Because of Jada, it's like, get yours, girl.
Exactly. No, for real.
Did they do a good job
was,
of like just putting it out there? So it was like, hey, there's going to be speculation for a couple days, but now it can finally die down because it's like, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah,
what do you want to know
they
now?
basically just dispelled everything that August said. Like, because August Alsina, he was like, I was in love with her. We had this relationship, and then they just cut me off. And Jada's over here like, nah, he knew what it was. It was just a fling. So it's really like, he said, she said, and I think in this case, people are going to be Team Jada and Will over August. So I don't expect us to be reporting anything next week on them.
We did get a new way to refer to all of that though now.
Entanglement.
We're like, okay, girl, I'm in an entanglement with X, Y, or Z.
Yeah,
that was kind of the trending
the streets
thing.
are going to be running with that one. It's like, no, girl, it was in like we just got entangled.
I love how Will was like, and by entanglement, I think that you should be explicit here,
dude. And Will, he kept using the word girth, which I don't know.
What?
Yeah, it just sounded. He's like, instead of like capacity or anything or volume, like he kept saying, I did not. You thought that I wouldn't have the girth to get through this with you, like, which was just very strange wording. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they talked about it, and
yeah,
that's it. I mean,
and then they moved on, and I guess so are we.
Yeah, that's crazy. But glad they're back to happy and together. I didn't realize that they were so rock bottom 4 or 5 years ago, and separated, and they'd obviously done a pretty good job of keeping that under wraps.
Yeah, thanks a lot, TMZ.
It was pretty obvious that they were like, even what we do in our married life or separated life, we'd just rather keep with us.
Yeah.
And I think that subliminally they were saying like, wow, August has really spoken out of turn at every point in this situation. Like, save face, take the higher road, and preserve the ability to maybe have a relationship in the future, or be cordial, or at least go play ball with Jaden or something,
It's like, hop on a track with our son. Like, oh, man.
That's funny.
What you got?
Well, we were talking about Dak earlier.
Okay.
Whenever his contract goes through, we start playing games again, we're going to have a new division rival.
Ah, yes.
The Washington Arrows. They've speculated Warriors, which they also think is racist, but I don't know if that has an ethnic origin of any type, because
I don't know, man.
Warriors have come from every tribe.
It'll be fine for 100 years, and then it'll be offensive. So we'll just rock with it now, and other people can deal with it later.
Can you believe that they acquiesced to it and they're officially?
Well, yeah. All of their money was in jeopardy. Of course, they agreed to it.
I don't know that it's going to go far enough for some people, because I've seen, and I don't know if these are like just speculation mock-ups or what, but rumor has it could be the Washington whatever, and here's the new logo design, and it's like, it's not that far off. It's like there's still Native American. First of all, why is everyone calling them Indians? It's like, we learned our lesson. They're Native Americans.
Yeah. I said Indians on the last episode,
but so is everybody.
That was my mistake. Yeah.
Mainstream media is saying Indians,
right.
and I don't
Native
quite.
American.
It seems like a big gaffe or like oversight with all the racial inequality work that we're doing as a country right now. When I'm like, why are they saying on ABC or CNN Indians when it's like, that's not what they are.
Right.
It's like, it's so silly. In the writing of this wrong, they keep getting the group's name wrong.
Yeah. I want to look up the tentative name, because I thought it was something different than that.
Yeah, I think the latest one that I heard was maybe the Generals, or
let's see here.
Something kind of generic. War tribe. So I had a question for you about that.
Okay, hit me.
What do they do about the likely 30,000 fans that show up to the first game out of the 60,000 capacity that still have old jerseys on with the offensive logo? Are we going to move? Like, can you be assaulted in a parking lot now that it's officially changing? Is this that moment where your libel or your disclaimer stuff comes into effect, where if I have a Redskins jersey or if I say Redskins, like, is that dead naming? Is that racist now because it's not referring to the team? And can I wear old merch and memorabilia, or is that now violation of like hate speech?
That's a wonderful question that I'd not thought of at all.
How many times you go to the Rangers game and you see like a Palmero jersey
Yeah.
and you're like, he hasn't played here
Yeah.
for 20 years or whatever.
I mean, I have a Witten jersey that I'll be wearing to the Cowboys games for years to come. So,
Traitor, that guy.
well, it is what it is. Anyway, so I mean, yeah, guaranteed people are going to be wearing their old jerseys for sure.
So
Is it a problem?
will security make them change? Like, here's something they could do.
Those jerseys are
Trade
ugly
your
anyway.
jersey.
So
Marketing for the Redskins right now is already coming up with the trade in your Redskins jersey day, where they will exchange. I'm
No
just
way.
speculating on this.
okay.
I'm saying this is a prediction. This is a must-heard prediction on the weekly catch-up.
Ooh.
The marketing team, it's like a gun buyback from the government.
Yeah.
They're like, bring us your Redskins memorabilia. We'll replace it with new memorabilia that is now socially coof. I guarantee you someone in the front office is already doing that. They're already putting the graphic together.
The name that I saw was Washington Red Tails.
Did we make any progress with that? Like, what's
No,
a red tail?
The Red Tails are the group of African Americans that were pilots in, I want to say, World War II, but I can't remember. But they like helped with one of the battles.
They're like, let's take one marginalized warring tribe and move it to another marginalized warring group. Like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. Cool.
Yeah. Go Cowboys.
Yeah, couldn't care less, honestly. Can't wait to beat y'all.
Right. Shout out Thanksgiving. Let's go.
And also screw the Eagles and the Giants while we're at it.
Yeah.
Giants is insensitive to Giant people.
Well, I talked about it last week, like Raiders and Vikings, yeah. Anyway.
What about all these birds? The Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Ravens. Dude, I got attacked by another bird this week.
What?
This time a raven.
What is up with that?
I got to change out my cologne or
I
something.
was about to say, your hair gel or
I'm like, I need to quit using this birdseed gel. But it's so stiff. Yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
It brushed right past me right on Victory Park Avenue, walking back from lunch the other day. Kind of grazed my arm, and I was just like, what is happening? And I could have cut through my shirt. My nipples I was just so scared. And then I just scurry on down the street with my mask, just looking over my shoulder like an idiot, praying that it doesn't come back for more. Because the first time this happened, it did come back. It brushed me the first time, and then solid
think
impact
about
the
somebody
second.
think about somebody noticing the panic in your face, and they're like, dude, are you okay? Like, what's going on? You have to tell them that it's a bird.
Part of the reason I was looking around was to try to make sure that nobody had seen what had happened. Because I'm to definitely, as long as no one was watching me, that's when I was
like, man, are you okay? You're sweating bullets. It's like, yeah, this raven. They're coming.
Dude. Because I was upset with how much my body changed in that moment. I was like, I did kind of develop a sweat, a panic. I was just like, it's frustrating. I'm like, we haven't mastered anything. Like, I'm still in the food chain here with a raven in urban Dallas. So
that's wild.
Anyway, shoot those things if you see them.
Oh, that's good.
At some point in the podcast, it doesn't have to be now, but at some point I do want to discuss a notable New York Times journalist leaving, and I want to read her resignation letter.
Okay.
For as long as you'll humor me, because it's rather lengthy, but it's one of the most perfect summarizations of sane people's take on the media recently.
Perfect. Yeah, let's
We can do it closer to the end, maybe.
Yeah, I want to get through these kind of fluff stories first. For
Well, fluff me, Brad. Give me the
Nope.
fluff. I meant.
I'm about to buy a bunch of birds. Come at me, bro.
All right. What do you got?
Tory Lanez and Meg the Stallion.
Yeah.
Meg the Stallion.
Dude, that such a buried headline.
Bro.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know she got shot too.
In the foot, I guess. So let me read the report here.
I thought that was the buried story when I saw it. It was like Tory Lane shot, and then it was like he was also with Meg the Stallion at the time.
So TMZ received a statement from Megan the Stallion regarding the incident, and it's worse than simply injuries from glass. Meg revealed that she was shot in the foot twice, though she didn't reveal who pulled the trigger. She had posted, "The narrative that is being reported about Sunday morning's events are inaccurate, and I'd like to set the record straight. On Sunday morning, this is around 4 a.m., I suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime that was committed against me and done with the intention to physically harm me. I was never arrested. I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. I'm incredibly grateful," all that jazz. So Tory Lanez, what is he, like R&B rapper? Meg the Stallion rapper. Kylie Jenner was also at the party that they were at. They were at this house party, and shots had been fired. Around 4 a.m., police arrive. They find a gun in Tory Lanez's car, and he was arrested and booked for carrying a weapon, and he was charged with a felony. Meg the Stallion, they said, she was a victim in all this. She didn't get charged at all. Pretty crazy.
Oh, wow. That story has gone from, did he get shot?
No, I think he was just shot at.
Okay, so, I mean, you see where this could go, where it's like, he's in a car with Meg the Stallion. She has a bullet wound. He has a gun and no bullet wound. It's like, what happened here?
Right.
And how much has the story changed over the last 18 hours?
There was also a third person with them, but that, like, they're keeping that person under wraps.
That was Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, August Alsina. It could have been Kylie, who was also at the party, and I guess we'll have to check out the Keeping Up with the Kardashians to.
Oh man, wouldn't that be great if another murder happened in or around that family?
I'm not gonna say that'd be great.
A murder got that family started,
Yeah,
that's how old Bob Kardashian got to represent old
OJ Simpson.
Hey, Twitter world.
Oh man, OJ. Oh, speaking of OJ, what's coming back? You tweeted it. What is OJ known for driving in that famous video?
Oh, a Bronco. That thing is sick, man.
Yeah, not the yellow one. I didn't like the yellow one.
Well, whatever. But the body style was dope.
That bluish one.
I saw people trying to get on the wait list, and I don't know if they crashed the website or what happened, but that new Ford Bronco looking slick.
Yeah. So let's see. So bringing back the Bronco was a part of this strategy to play off Ford's greatest hits. The Ford is also bringing the F-150 back, the pickup, and it's getting Tesla-like hands-free driving technology. And they're also going to come out with a Mustang that's electric. So the Bronco, which was just unveiled, has removable roofs and roof and doors, a familiar chrome bucking horse emblem, rubberized floors. But it looked pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks.
I saw some people hating on it. And whenever I saw the yellow one, I was kind of in that camp too. But I think it was just the color scheme. But they look all right.
Show me anything that's great that's been launched where it didn't have haters as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It didn't receive nearly as much hate as like the Cybertruck from Tesla, for instance, which is owned by Elon Musk, who's a Kanye West supporter.
That's right.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Wonder if OJ will get one.
He might. Shout out David the Psalmist for the lyric in the song that we just dropped,
Man, we so timely.
I know. He said, always got drive like I'm OJ in the Bronco.
Man, do we see the future?
That's what I'm... Every week.
Are you a prophet?
That's so Bradley.
Because I'm a reverend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Signs of the times.
I got my I got an email the other day. Happy 1 month anniversary of being ordained, Reverend Carson Gibbons. And I was like, that feels right. I'm like,
Yeah.
I deserve this.
That's
email.
that's on brand for
I'm
2020.
like, I just got an email from God. I'll be right back.
Nah, God's sending birds to attack you, bro.
Seriously, he's like, in case that back plague doesn't get you, I'll send normal domestic birds to mess you up, you sinner.
Oh, that's good. He's gonna send that dove next.
Man, finish the job, Lord. Bring on the bubonic plague.
There was a plague that just came back. Yeah.
Again, the Lord works in mysterious ways, Brad, and he's working all around us right now.
Yeah.
Because there's disease galore, and we're distanced, and things are crazy right now, dude. Like Kanye West just dropped out of the presidential campaign, according to the media.
Yeah.
The stupid, profiteering media. They are so...
Media's dumb.
Backwards.
I mean, I hope y'all keep listening to us, but...
We're not the media.
Yeah. We're anti-media.
Yeah.
We don't know anything.
We're just so entertaining.
Oh, what do we got now?
Okay, so you ready for my media rant?
Did you hear anything about Nick Cannon? Nick Cannon's been dropped.
So there was, I don't know anything about any of that. Was that on Dancing or AGT?
No, I don't think he's on AGT anymore. So he has that show Wild and Out on MTV.
Okay.
And so I guess Nick Cannon got on a podcast or a YouTube show or something, and he was, I don't know, I guess he was being he was being anti-Semitic, and just like we reported about somebody doing that last week.
Oh yeah, the NFL player.
Yeah, it was almost like the same sentiments. He was basically saying like, but anyway.
I didn't see what that was. Dude, I just got a pop-up.
What's that?
You have a sponsor waiting.
What does that mean?
Someone wants to advertise on your podcast.
What?
I didn't know that they could Dude, did we cross an activity threshold?
Oh my goodness, this is happening live on air.
You finally made us money.
We did it. So who are we sponsoring?
I don't know, but it's screw this crap o'clock. It's time to go take a dump on our boss's desk, son. We making money.
Distance ed. We're in the classrooms. It doesn't matter. I'm not there.
Yeah. Hey, Twitter world.
I'm podcasting full time. It's like we just made 5 cents.
Yeah, seriously. It's like the weekly catch up was such a hit, but daily catch up really, really tanked.
Yeah. Daily catch up, we say things like 7 times the speed, and so they can really pick up on our ignorance.
What were we just talking about before we got a sponsor for the show?
Nick Cannon, are you not gonna...
I don't even know. I don't know what to do. Like, I've never...
You gotta click on something.
Activate it?
Yeah, activate. What does that do?
Oh.
Isn't it just spam?
I don't know. I feel like it's a prompt to try to get us to activate sponsorships now that we're at a certain listener level.
Crap, you think I can unsend this message from my boss?
Go into your send folder.
Really jump the gun there.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Nick Cannon thing, but I did see that he'd gotten laid off, and then Tom Bergeron and the other chick on Dancing with the Stars got laid off, and I didn't know if that was due to anything other than them just getting laid off, or if there was an underlying issue there or controversy. I was going to look at my Twitter whenever this popped up.
Yeah.
No, I was going to look at show notes.
Yeah, I was trying to... Who did we report last week? Griff?
Who?
No, never mind.
It was some NFL player that we didn't ever name.
Basically, Nick Cannon was saying that black people are the true Hebrews. It's never hate speech. You can't be anti-Semitic when we are the Semitic people. When we are the same people who they want to be. That's our birthright. We are the true Hebrews. So,
well, that's exactly what that guy said from the week before. Isn't that like some Louis Farrakhan stuff? Like, isn't that like
I don't know,
the Black Brotherhood or Islam or something like that, where they think that that's their birthright or whatever?
Maybe so. But anyway, he was dropped by the show, and now he's fighting. He wants full control and rights to his show, Wild and Out. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, anyway, he dropped out, or he was dropped. I mean, let's see.
The only other show note that I had prior to this thing is that Ghislaine Maxwell pleaded not guilty.
I have that as well
on Zoom court.
Yeah, and I guess her court date is set for next July, July 2021. So she'll probably
time to die.
Yeah, I was about to say she'll definitely be dead by then.
How funny is it going to be when she just gets COVID and dies?
Jeez.
Oh, and all the secrets die with her.
Yeah,
Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton and all of them are just.
Apparently, she's been married. She's married. During the court case,
it's so hard to get.
She had been under an alias and was married to this guy, and anyway, let's see what else. Tomorrow 2 new Drake songs featuring DJ Khaled, or I guess he's the one that produced them, and we're gonna get some new Drake songs. Hype about that.
We're gonna get some new DJ Khaled songs.
We're gonna get him screaming, "We're the best. We are
the
best.
the best. They don't want you to eat. They want you hungry.
Yeah, they don't. They want you to catch COVID.
That's why we're gonna eat up, bless up.
Never play yourself."
Have you seen the new Geico commercial with him?
No.
Oh my goodness! So this guy is brushing his teeth at the sink, and they're like, "You don't want to brush your teeth? Need a motivational pep talk from DJ Khaled?" And then DJ Khaled comes up and he's like, "Hey, Devin, go ahead and do circular motions, my man. Go ahead and try it." And so then he does one circular motion, and Khaled goes, "Another one." And then he does it again, and he goes, "Another one." And it's funny.
That's good. I've been wanting to fit this into one of our podcast episodes. So since you're talking about motivationally or a motivational speaker, have you heard of David Goggins?
Yes.
I've been reading his book, or actually I just finished it. But for those who don't know who he is, he's this BA dude he's a retired United States Navy SEAL. And he served in the Iraq War. Anyway, I don't know, I wrote down a couple things about him that I learned, but he's the former world record holder for the most pull-ups done in 24 hours. The book that I read from him is called Can't Hurt Me. And it talks about just his crazy upbringing. He had an incredibly abusive dad, and him and his mom finally escaped his clutches, and then his mom fell in love with somebody else, and then that guy was killed, and he did terrible in school and all this different stuff, and he decided to join. And during his training, he had been diagnosed with a sickle cell trait, and he had to stay home for a week. And when he returned that following week, he had been told that he had to restart his training, which, if you know about training for the Navy SEALs, it's just this grueling, incredibly difficult task. If you're wanting to read something really inspiring and just being able to push through physical and emotional pain and different things like that, he's just crazy. And follow him on Instagram too, because he's always just running. He's this really ripped dude. He actually had fractured his foot or his knee or something recently, and so he's seen on Instagram, he has his legs up on a chair and he's walking with his hands on a treadmill, and he's they wanted me to stay out. He's but I'm showing all these trolls saying that, oh, they knew I'd break down. Well, this is for you. And he's just ripped, and he's walking on his hands on this treadmill. And
wasn't he 350 pounds at one point?
Yes, he was a huge dude, because he got really it was after the first time he left training because of the sickle cell. He just started eating a lot, and then I can't remember exactly, but something motivated him to get back, and he had to lose 150, 175 pounds within this limit, and he actually pulled it off. He was eating tortillas and rice and just hardcore cutting calories in an unhealthy way. But there's stories of him where, the Navy SEALs, they're in the water and they're having to tread it and hold hands and just kick with their feet forever. And it's called dead week, and it's supposed to emotionally break them to ensure that they won't give up in the most dire circumstances. And he gets so cocky that he's whistling and singing to the supervisor, and just pissing them completely off. and he finished first. His second time around, he had to do it 3 times. First due to sickle cell, the second due to like a fracture or something. But in that second one, what's his name? The American sniper,
Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle was in his squadron, and they are known to be like the most crazy group that had ever joined, and they would beat all other groups in all of the obstacle training and different things like that. But anyway, it's a remarkable story, and I highly recommend it. So that's what I read recently.
Right on. Can I get that book from you when you're
Yeah.
done? Will you bring me that Gladwell book that you were going to?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm bad at that.
I would like that.
I'm going to try to bring
in hard copy.
Talking with strangers.
Have you caught Goggins on JRE?
I know that he has episodes on there, but I haven't listened to him.
He's got 1 or 2. Would probably prescribe going to those as well because Joe is obviously a huge fan of this story, and they're personal friends now. And dude, whenever Joe talks about the text that he gets from Goggins, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, because he'll text exactly like he does on Instagram, like
just
get up.
Just a lot of explicit words, and
can't repeat it on our show hosted by
now that sponsor was just spam, I guess we can't just let it fly on here like I thought we'd be able to.
It wasn't the Church of Latter-day Saints trying to sponsor this show, bro.
Oh, man.
Also wasn't the Adventists, which I think is a miss.
Kind of messed up.
Yeah, we could be a great marketing tool for them.
Yeah.
Goggins is really cool.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Yep, so I got you with that book, and I'll bring the Malcolm Gladwell.
Thank you. I've been anxious to dive into that one.
Yeah. I do want to hear your story.
My story.
The news editorial.
Oh, well.
Or do we have more?
I don't really. I'm trying to think. Like, I kind of glazed over the week because we just talked about your birthday stuff, but I've just been working.
Yeah, this
closed
week.
the deal when you walked in today.
Yeah, you did. I heard you were crushing it. Today I had a huge presentation for one of my master's classes, and that's kind of like that. I mean, that's just kept my whole week pretty busy. I spent a lot of the time on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday prepping for that, staying up late and everything. But I think it went really well. I think if I do say so myself, we were the best group that's gone so far out of the 4. Just really prepared and all that. So I'm happy that that's over with.
There we go, showing that weekly catch-up humility that we got.
I mean,
if I do say so myself.
It is what it is. We come up here, we tell the truth.
See the truth as we know it at that moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yo, disclaimer our stuff. Be
also true.
Okay. Well, we don't necessarily have to wrap after this, but wanted to designate a couple minutes. So
sure.
This woman has also been on Rogan several times. They're pretty good friends at this point, and I've differed from her politically at times, or just in her viewpoint over certain things, but kind of heralded as maybe a center left, center right, center type person. Barry Weiss. Mm-hmm. She resigned from the New York Times opinion posts that she's held over the last couple of years that brought her some notoriety. And I saw this started to circulate on Twitter, and what she had done is she wrote a resignation letter to the publisher of the New York Times, AG something, and she published it for the world on her website, and it went viral because it's one of the most measured critiques of somebody in the establishment that, a lot of conservatives, liberals, and even the establishment has to agree with to a certain extent. So look her up on JRE, read some of her stuff, take it with a grain of salt, but I do want to read this.
Sure.
Okay. So this is available at barryweiss.com, BARIWEISS.com. Dear AG, it is with sadness that I write to tell you that I am resigning from the New York Times. I joined the paper with gratitude and optimism 3 years ago. I was hired with the goal of bringing in voices that would not otherwise appear in your pages. First-time writers, centrists, conservatives, and others who would not naturally think of the Times as their home. The reason for this effort was clear. The paper's failure to anticipate the outcome of the 2016 election meant that it didn't have a firm grasp of the country it covers. Dean Baquet and others have admitted as much on various occasions. The priority and opinion was to help redress that critical shortcoming. I was honored to be a part of that effort, led by James Bennett. I am proud of my work as a writer and as an editor. Among those I helped bring to our pages, the Venezuelan dissident Wuli Ortega, the Iranian chess champion Dorsa Derakhshani, and the Hong Kong Christian Democrat Derek Lam. Also, a bunch of names that I'm not going to go through, and many others. But the lessons that ought to have followed the election, lessons about the importance of understanding other Americans, the necessity of resisting tribalism, and the centrality of the free exchange of ideas to a democratic society have not been learned. Instead, a new consensus has emerged in the press, but perhaps especially at this paper, that truth isn't a process of collective discovery, but an orthodoxy already known to an enlightened few whose job is to inform everyone else. Twitter is not on the masthead of the New York Times, but Twitter has become its ultimate editor. As the ethics and mores of that platform have become those of the paper itself has increasingly become a kind of performance space. Stories are chosen and told in a way to satisfy the narrowest of audiences, rather than to follow a curious public to read about the world and then draw their own conclusions. I was always taught that journalists were charged with writing the first rough draft of history. Now history itself is one more ephemeral thing molded to fit the needs of a predetermined narrative. My own forays into wrongthink have made me the subject of constant bullying by colleagues who disagree with my views. They have called me a Nazi and a racist. I have learned to brush off the comments about how I'm writing about the Jews again. Several colleagues perceived to be friendly with me were badgered by coworkers. My work and my character are openly demeaned on company-wide Slack channels where masthead editors regularly weigh in. There, some coworkers insist I need to be rooted out if this company is to be a truly inclusive one, while others post axe emojis next to my name. Still, other New York Times employees publicly smear me as a liar and a bigot on Twitter, with no fear that harassing me will be met with appropriate action. They never are. There are terms for all of this: unlawful discrimination, hostile work environment, and constructive discharge. I'm no legal expert, but I know that this is wrong. I do not understand how you have allowed this kind of behavior to go on inside your company in full view of the paper's entire staff and the public. And I certainly can't square how you and other Times leaders have stood by while simultaneously praising me in private for my courage. Showing up for work as a centrist at an American newspaper should not require bravery. Part of me wishes I could say that my experience was unique, but the truth is that intellectual curiosity, let alone risk-taking, is now a liability at the Times. Why edit something challenging to our readers or write something bold only to go through the numbing process of making it ideologically kosher, when we can assure ourselves of job security and clicks by publishing our 4,000th op-ed arguing that Donald Trump is a unique danger to the country and the world, and so self-censorship has become the norm? What rules that remain at the Times are applied with extreme selectivity. If a person's ideology is in keeping with the new orthodoxy, they and their work remain unscrutinized. Everyone else lives in fear of the digital Thunderdome. Online venom is excused so long as it is directed at the proper targets. Op-eds that would have been easily published just 2 years ago would now get an editor or a writer in serious trouble, if not fired. If a piece is perceived as likely to inspire backlash internally or on social media, the editor or writer avoids pitching it. If she feels strongly enough to suggest it, she is quickly steered to safer ground. And if every now and then she succeeds in getting a piece published that does not explicitly promote progressive causes, it happens only after every line is carefully massaged, negotiated, and caveated. It took the paper 2 days and 2 jobs to say that the Tom Cotton op-ed fell short of our standards. We attached an editor's note on a travel story about Jaffa shortly after it was published because it failed to touch on the important aspects of Jaffa's makeup and its history. I might be saying that wrong, apologies. But there is still none appended to Cheryl Strayed's fawning interview with the writer Alice Walker, a proud anti-Semite who believes in lizard Illuminati. The paper of record is more and more the record of those living in a distant galaxy, one whose concerns are profoundly removed from the lives of most people. This is a galaxy in which, to choose just a few recent examples, the Soviet space program is lauded for its diversity. The doxing of teenagers in the name of justice is condoned, and the worst caste systems in human history includes the United States alongside Nazi Germany. Even now, I am confident that most people at the Times do not hold these views, yet they are cowed by those who do. Why? Perhaps because they believe the ultimate goal is righteous. Perhaps because they believe that they will be granted protection if they nod along as the coin of our realm, language, is degraded in service to an ever-shifting laundry list of right causes. Perhaps because there are millions of unemployed people in this country and they feel lucky to have a job in a contracting industry. Or perhaps it is because they know that nowadays, standing up for principle at the paper does not win plaudits. It puts a target on your back. Too wise to post on Slack, they write to me privately about the new McCarthyism that has taken root at the paper of record. That's chilling. All this bodes ill, especially for independent-minded young writers and editors paying close attention to what they'll have to do to advance in their careers. Rule 1, speak your mind at your own peril. Rule 2, never risk commissioning a story that goes against the narrative. Rule 3, never believe an editor or publisher who urges you to go against the grain. Eventually, the publisher will cave to the mob, the editor will get fired or reassigned, and you'll be hung out to dry. For these young writers and editors, there is one consolation. As places like the Times and other once great journalistic institutions betray their standards and lose sight of their principles, Americans still hunger for news that is accurate, opinions that are vital, and debate that is sincere. I hear from these people every day. An independent press is not a liberal ideal or a progressive ideal or a democratic ideal. It's an American ideal, you said a few years ago. I couldn't agree more. America is a great country that deserves a great newspaper. None of this means that some of the most talented journalists in the world don't still labor for this newspaper. They do, which is what makes the illiberal environment especially heartbreaking. I will be as ever a dedicated reader of their work, but I can no longer do the work that you brought me here to do. The work that Adolph Ochs described in that famous 1896 statement, to make of the columns of the New York Times a forum for the consideration of all questions of public importance, and to that end, to invite intelligent discussion from all shades of opinion. Ochs' idea is one of the best I've encountered, and I've always comforted myself with the notion that the best ideas win out. But ideas cannot win on their own. They need a voice. They need a hearing. Above all, they must be backed by people willing to live by them. Sincerely, Barry.
Very true.
Mic drop.
Very true.
Pin drop.
Yeah, the sentiment that, you have to, I don't know, if you go against the grain and what's popular and ruffle some feathers, then they'll make your life a living hell. And we live in such sensitive times to where, you can't have a differing opinion.
You can't discuss a differing opinion.
Yeah.
Not much less hold it.
Yeah.
Like I've had heartburn and concern over things that we've just discussed on this show without even taking a stance.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that was articulated so well in this article or this resignation letter. From my perspective was that, she's not arguing like, Black Lives Matter is wrong or anything conservative or anything like that. She's saying like your inability to even shine sunlight on
for there
issues.
To be a forum where you can come with really your differing opinions. Yeah.
It's social justice warrior where it's like, I guess I have to use these column inches to scream this progressive viewpoint. And the sad part is like all the people that come to her off the record to say that she's right and they agree. And it's like, it's almost like there's this fake thing that we all have to abide by. It's like, hey, don't say the truth. We're still pretending over here that X, Y, or Z is the norm or whatever the case may be. And if you show any level of pragmatism and discussion or dialogue surrounding some of those untouchable things, it's just instantly problematic.
Yeah. As an English teacher, like I've one of the first few episodes, I was talking about the books that I read with my seniors, and we were talking about 1984 and like how they try to control your thoughts and all the things that you say, and you can get in trouble for all those things. And it's like, that's why I still teach these books that were written, so long ago. Like, this book was written before 1984, and it was like a glimpse into like this dystopic future. And it's so sad that it can be relevant in today's world.
The attack on tangible items as representations of strains of thought or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that the Confederate soldier in your local park shouldn't be taken down. I'm arguing that it's scary that it's like that inanimate object over there is creating inequality. It's what leads me to be concerned about, what if I have an outdated Washington Redskins jersey? Is that now hate speech? Used to be, I had to create a bad outcome to be a bad citizen.
Yeah.
Regardless of my intentions, if I killed someone, I was a murderer. I had to go to jail.
Sure.
Now, if you mull something over, you did it. Like, it's a scary progression that we are seeing too. And especially with the intersection of technology. Like, I mean, how long until our Google search history is called into question or publicly available, or available as a heat wave within a technological lens, VR lens, where I can read your emotions. I can know if you're being truthful with me or not.
Right.
That's scary. Like, when we start uploading consciousness and, becoming cyborgs, installing technology into ourselves, where, somebody's got to run the circuit board. Somebody's got to maintain the master code base. And if they can see the different interactions that you see where
Yeah. No, that's wild.
It's terrifying. That's why I'm hoping that a bird kills me before any of this happens. And I'm on a good streak here.
Yeah, man.
Next one could be fatal.
I can't wait to see what the next type is.
It's like, with all of this going on, young Carson Gibbons was killed by a raven in front of the office.
Oh, yeah. Out of everything that could have happened, death by bird.
It's like Carson got bird flu and passed.
Oh. They crapped on him. He got in his eye and he walked right out into the street. Got hit by a bus.
Now I picture it killing me and then crapping on me.
Yeah. One for good measure. Man.
Well.
Breaking news on Twitter. Anybody who's verified cannot tweet right now.
I saw that. Did you see they got Elon's?
Yeah.
They
he got
out
hacked.
Their Bitcoin link.
Yeah, a lot of people got hacked, but anybody that is a verified account has not been able to tweet anything for at least the past hour. So the world is ours.
Oh, I'm glad that I've held off on taking Twitter up on their offer to give me my blue check.
Yeah.
They keep hitting me up. They're like, hey, man, Mr. Gibbons,
right?
Can we put this blue check next to you? I'm like, no.
No, we have a lot of people vying for our attention,
I'm like, I'm a reverend. I'm a man of the people.
Yeah, I'm humble Brad, I got to stay humble.
I got to pray in the closet, baby, not in the street.
Yeah. I don't need a check mark. They know what I say is verified, all right?
I check all their boxes,
Well,
humble.
Don't look at me when you say that.
Okay.
Don't look me in the eyes with that grin.
Why?
A little mischievous grin.
Yeah, you like it?
No, that's why I'm telling you not to.
You don't like it?
I'm afraid I will.
Oh, yeah. You're afraid of what I might unlock in you?
Oh, my goodness. Crazy times, dude.
Yeah. So, you got anything else? I'm ready to wrap this thing.
Yeah, man. Let's get some food.
Are we getting roti?
Yeah, we're gonna. I need some chicken tikka masala in my life.
You don't want anything else?
No.
Okay.
My mind has been set since before we hit play on this episode.
Brad like looks for you to blink once in roti's direction. He's like, I could do roti too. Yeah. I mean, if you convince me.
Yeah, man. I need some good naan in my life. And
we got Courtney in the green room holding it down.
She's chilling.
So we're gonna go get that extra hot chicken tikka masala, extra naan.
Let's do it. Yeah, I got 2 weeks left of 2.5 weeks left of my master's classes. I got another big presentation on Monday. So for those praying people, keep me blessed up in your prayers. thinking I might end with all A's.
Oh, wow. Willie would be so proud.
Well,
maybe it's time to follow up. Yo, I'm not going to tell that story.
Tell it.
No.
Tell it.
I was like, speaking of
You
following
have to.
up. So the wider podcast audience doesn't know this, and I don't want to dig up all this history, but before my first startup, I was working for an agency for 2 years, and it was the best job that I'd had up until that point. It was kind of one of those, you settled in, I found a groove, and we won some Addies, sold $1 million worth of business. Life was good. And kind of quit in a, I guess, unexpected fashion for the employer, and they were less than happy with me. They were very frustrated with me. And that was April 1 of 2016, April Fool's Day of the year that Trump got elected. So stuff was already starting to go squirrely.
Yeah.
We had no idea what was in store for us, but that was back when that's.
You've really tallied up all this bad karma, huh?
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
Yeah. Anyway.
So anyway, it was one of those kind of bridge burned, estranged relationships with the former employer that historically I think there was a big level of mutual respect and symbiotic collaboration going on there. And so haven't spoken with them since that time. But Friday morning I go get in the pod at work, and a couple of the tenants from upstairs are, obviously redoing their collateral or their About Us team page and taking headshots and all of this stuff. And so many people, just casual people even, do photo shoots on our street, like at work, Victory. I even saw a commercial on the PGA coverage on CBS on Sunday. And the entire commercial was shot at all the stores that are right next to my office.
Oh, wow.
Like you could tell.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild. So lots of news coverage down there, media coverage, people doing photo shoots. Anyway, he was doing a photo shoot, the former boss, with these tenants. And I realized, like, I'd been on photo shoots with him, like to Miami and these different places. And he's total creative director, really talented guy. So I was like, oh, this must be a client relationship that he has. And a chill went through my body because, that particular day I was dressed exactly like I would have been dressed if I'd gone into his studio. He was dressed exactly the way that I found him every day when I went into work. And for a brief moment, I was like, oh, I should run out there and just be like, hey, man, I've got a lot more miles under the tires at this point, and just wanted to say I respect you and I hope that all is well, and apologize for being a hormonal, emotional 25-year-old years ago. But then I didn't because I was just like, I remembered we had a mutual friend, John and I had a mutual friend that used to work there, and this guy did not like him at all. And I remember years later, he'd come into the office one morning and told me that he'd had a dream where he was beating that guy up the night before. Wow. This was my boss telling me about a former employee and how much he enjoyed it. And I just remembered that, and I was like, you know what? I want to keep it cool with the tenants that I have to.
You're looking out the window. It's like, there's a lot of birds out there.
I
think I'm going to stay in this pod.
But it was just one of those moments where 2016 to 2020, and I'd had a couple other kind of deja vu moments throughout the week that life is super weird, and
certainly is.
I saw that circle back, and still would love to create a cordial relationship in the future. That's not off limits to me. I did remember that dream that he told me about, and I was like, oh yeah, my willingness to move on may not be reciprocated.
Right.
So
that's fair.
I don't know why I remembered that whenever
I don't know. That's
you were
great.
talking.
I don't even know what I was talking about, but.
And with that, now I'm ready to wrap.
Great. Any shout outs?
No, really, just all the usual suspects.
Yeah. Great seeing everyone this past weekend. Any jokes from my dad?
I don't think so.
He said you had messaged him about my birthday, but he had stopped checking his LinkedIn because you had stopped telling his jokes. So he thought you were done with him.
Man, my shout out goes to Dean Colvin. I asked him to submit an audio clip for your birthday, but I think he had
caught it too
blocked
late.
Me. Okay. Okay. All right, we got a We got a your mama and we got a back and forth joke.
All right.
I'll give you the your mama first. Your mama's so fat, her blood type is ragu, which is gross.
Oh, man.
It'll work out your arteries.
Yeesh.
All right. Teacher. Kids, what does the chicken give you? Student. Meat. Teacher. Very good. Now, what does the pig give you? Student. Bacon. Teacher. Great. And what does the fat cow give you? Student. Homework. So my shout out also goes to my fat cow, Mr. B-Rad Colvin.
What
who
up?
Is looking lithe and trim. What is the weigh-in this week, my friend?
So I'm at 231. I'm almost in the 220s.
Snap, dude. You're down 24 pounds from.
Yeah.
All right. Looking good.
Thanks, man.
Just rocking the chubbies and a Patagonia.
In my Patagonia.
All right. Well, shout out to you for all the amazing weight loss, even
Thanks,
in
man.
your old age.
Appreciate it.
It was great to
Appreciate the
see
love.
everybody Saturday.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for listening. And
All
we
right.
will catch you up next week.
Later.